Hey guys, welcome back to the Tough Love Podcast with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's guest, Kim Clemente, nurse practitioner, master injector, mother, grandmother, an absolute ball of energy and fitness enthusiast. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, John. Nice to be here.
You know what? I want to jump right in, and there's so much to talk about. As you know, I think you're amazing. As a mom, a single mom, and an injector, social influencer, you touch so many things. But what's the passion behind Kim Clemente?
The passion, first and foremost, is going to be my 6 kids and my 6 grandchildren. Obviously, we always strive to do better and be better for our family. And behind that would be my friends. And a very close second to that would be all the patients I get to work with on a daily basis and yearly basis, or whenever I see them.
Love that. And that's one thing I would definitely agree with. I always say to my wife, Jessica, as you know her very well, Kim does an amazing job of, it's not her patients. It's really like your community, your tribe. And you do a great job with that. And a lot of them are friends.
Thank you.
Somebody that's been in healthcare practice for 20 plus years, I always say game can recognize game. And that's one thing that's like a strength of mine in the practice, that if we walk around here like, oh my goodness, like everybody knows you, I'm like, I probably treated them. And it's a gift. So, kudos to you that I love walking along somebody that might be even, maybe got a head up on me on that.
I don't know about that, John, but thank you.
One of the things that I love to see that you do is you're very inclusive with your children. And, being of my many tasks and jobs I've had, being a youth trainer, a skills trainer for basketball, I got to see a lot of parents, and you do a great job of balance of taking your kids to different age groups and being around them. Where did that come from? Is that something you got from you growing up with your family, or is it just something you learned? But it's definitely something that I look at and I smile at it, saying she's a good mom. She's a good person.
So I grew up in a family of 9. I don't know if you know that, but I am one of 9. Quite dysfunctional, but definitely one of 9. So I'm used to chaos and big families, and I want to be better and do better than my parents, like we all do. So loving my kids and nurturing them and teaching them, and they learn by what they see, and we are what we want our kids to be. So I just want them to see my behaviors and just always make them be better people.
I like that. Great answer. You can't have a rainbow without the rain. And, one of the things that we touch on in Tough Love is about dealing with adversity. And I'd asked you that question yesterday and you answered it, and I didn't realize the level of adversity you experienced. But share with my audience how you dealt with that and what exactly that was during that year time.
So obviously, life is full of adversities. You're absolutely right. You can't have a rainbow without the rain. And that is life. So we have to embrace the good and the bad, and we have to take the negative and turn it into a positive. So it was about 7 years ago. It was 2017 in January. My niece was fighting for her life for 3.5 years. She had tongue cancer, which is quite rare. And by the way, just a little quick fact here, STDs, or should I say oral sex and oral STDs, are rampant in our younger generation because they don't look at oral sex as it's sex. And when young people contract HPV and other oral STDs, it can turn into cancer. That wasn't the reason my niece had her tongue cancer. She did have bulimia, which is also another fact that needs to be out there. All that vomiting eroded her tongue cells, and oral cancers in our young people are fatal in most cases. We can treat old men that smoke and drink their whole life and cure their tongue cancer, but in our young people, it's so utterly difficult. So Vicky struggled and battled from 27 to 31, and 2 days before she passed away, another niece from my husband's side of the family, ex-husband's side of the family, she committed suicide. She happened to be 27, which was devastating. And then Vicky, 2 days later, she passed away, and it was so emotional. Obviously, I have one niece that's taken her life, and I have another niece that's fighting for her life. And then 2 months after that, my children's father passed away. And I'm going to get emotional, but I literally went through every hour, every day for probably more than a year and just cried. And I was in so much pain. And it was in all that pain that I realized that I understood why Ashley took her life, because depression is a real thing. She had bipolar. And if I had to live every day like that for the rest of my life, that's not living. And poor Ashley was not living. She was suffering to the point that she did take her own life.
So sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So bring me back to the sunlight, because again, I remember you going through that because I would see your posts with your niece with cancer, and I didn't realize how close everybody's living their own lives and you're in your own busy. How'd you get past it, Kim? What was your, was it reading? Was it meditation? Was it exercise? Was it your friends? What,
it was all of those, John. And that's what I do on a daily basis. It's all of those things. You can't get through hard times just with one solo act. It's multiple things. It is exercise. If you're feeling stressed, go for a run. If you're feeling angry, go lift weights. Or go have a drink with your friends. Go do something, but you can't sit around being alone. You have to really engage not only yourself, but the people that you're surrounded by.
So love that. I love that answer. One of the things that I was always impressed with and excited to put you on the podcast today is, how do you stay so motivated in your professional space? I see you, and I was laughing because, the collab's coming. I'm not letting you off the hook on that. We're going to have fire and ice. So you get to be freeze and I get to be the fire. But how do you stay motivated to be as successful you are? And I always brag about you. We're in the same space. Obviously, I don't do it and perform it, but we have a team that's there. What keeps you motivated to keep learning? And I know you're aspiring to become a national coach in that space. But
I'm actually
what's the
a
magic?
national trainer for Allergan.
Yeah. But what's your motivation? How do you stay focused?
My patients obviously bring me through my days. Every visit is not only a therapeutic visit to deliver some kind of aesthetic treatment, but it is a therapeutic visit, and we talk about our lives and we just exchange stories, and sometimes we cry together, but it's building that bond and that trust and that relationship and helping people be the best versions of themselves.
It's funny, all the fashion designers with, this and that, but I always feel like if you were like a major designer, like Gucci or Prada, you'd be like a little bit of Botox and the day makes you better.
It is my favorite.
What would you say as far as staying relevant? One of the things that was funny, you've aged so gracefully, and, I look at you and I'm always like, she's not afraid to do whatever it takes to just maintain that youthfulness. What is that for you? And do you like sharing that where you say, what you're doing, or is it more the feeling you get from it? Do you understand what I'm saying on that?
So I absolutely love to share what brings me to today and how I look and how I feel, and even my demeanor and my internal health. So it's a little bit of everything, like I said, but it's definitely proper nutrition. It's supplementation. It's adequate or more than adequate water intake. And I never drink out of plastic anymore. Unfortunately, plastic's all over our society, but I do try to take as much plastic out of my life as I can. Sleep is so important. Friendships, family, all that fostering love around you. It's such a combination that it's not just one thing. It's really putting it all together and keeping it together.
I love it. What's one of the things that when you made the switch, I know you had a long career in being a nurse practitioner. What made you switch into the aesthetic space?
It was just kind of fell into my lap as an opportunity. And, a single mom, like you guys all know, I do have 6 kids, but I have 4 teenagers that I raised by myself. I shared with you, their dad passed away. I have to hustle. So up until I injected full time, I was working 3 or 4 jobs, depending on one full time and always a couple side hustles to keep it together. And 8 years ago, this became one of my side hustles. And obviously I'm passionate about it. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with what I was doing. I will have to admit though, at first when I went from cardiology and primary care to aesthetics, I felt like I was wasting my passion and what I should be doing. I wasn't so sure how I was helping people anymore. And then it just kept evolving, and I kept seeing my patients so happy, and just sometimes just listening to them, but definitely sometimes just transforming the way they look. And that confidence shows on the outside and the inside.
I love that. It's funny. One of the things, I've always been a people watcher, and as much as people think I'm not paying attention, I'm always paying attention. You are definitely like the Pied Piper, right? You are the leader of the pack, so to speak. And I think that, says a lot about a person, that you can draw in people. And, a lot of them, like, the one that I loved was your one friend that, not in a horrible situation, I guess her husband suddenly passed away. But it's amazing how big your heart is. And you pulled her in, and I'm sitting there looking and watching, and it felt like I was watching a soap opera or something. And I remember driving home with Jessica, Kim is an amazing human. Like she's the person that she's eating something and there's somebody homeless on the side of the street and she literally breaks it in half and shares it with them. Like that's the way I see you. Do you feel like that's something that helps you in healthcare or in your job? Have you always been that way? Or is that something you learned after, like, say 7 years ago with all the, but I kind of feel like you've always been amazing, but when did that become something that you just do so damn well?
I just think that's inherently a person's characteristic and demeanor. That is definitely inherent and just what I was born with and what I was born to do.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot, right? You put your age out there, so I'm not going to put it out there, but let's talk to our audience, especially our female population, your wellness routine, like your morning routine. What do you do? What does that look like? And then we'll get into the nighttime routine.
So my morning routine, as far as like when I get up.
You get up, you drinking water, you taking supplements, your skincare. Bring it.
So I drink all throughout the night, which makes me get up and go to the bathroom all throughout the night. But I never used to drink water. I was that nurse practitioner, and we are chronically dehydrated guys out there. But I did realize that hydration
12-hour shifts, nobody wanted to pee.
What?
12-hour shifts, nobody wanted to take a pee.
Hydration is so important. That's not number one. It's really all of it put together. So I'm constantly drinking throughout the night, and in the morning I get up and I do just take a few minutes, probably 10, 15 minutes to myself before I actually get out of bed. And when I do get out of bed, I take some supplements. I do have thyroid disease and high blood pressure, so I take my medications. And then I usually feed my dog. I'll make the kids breakfast if they're not in school, or if they're in school. And I sit in my infrared sauna. And if you don't have one, I highly recommend it. So I'll sit in the infrared sauna for 35, 40 minutes and just detox. And then if I can't make it here to the gym, then I have different equipment at home. So I'll do the Peloton bike, I'll do the Peloton treadmill, I have a tonal system. So I work out, even if sometimes I can only fit 15, 20 minutes in, that's what I do. But I do try to make up that workout time when I'm actually here at the gym. I will work out for 2 or 3 hours. After I work out, I get the kids off to school. Sometimes I have to drive them. I come home, I take a shower, and I go to work, and I inject pretty solidly. I'm booked usually every 10 to 15 minutes for 8 to 10 hours, 11 hours, whatever my shift is. And then I come home, I obviously make the kids dinner, I feed the dog again, maybe go for a walk. And by the way, my morning routine is I do an exosome serum. It's a 2-step routine. I do a dedicated eye cream by Obagi, and I always apply a vitamin C serum. At night, it's so key, guys. Tretinoin is the go-to. That's a prescription strength cream. It's a cell renewal cream that brings the new cells to the surface faster and exfoliates the dead surface skin off. Tretinoin is something after age 35 we should all be doing for anti-aging. I have patients in their 70s and 80s that have been using it for 30 years, and their skin is phenomenal. They actually motivated me to become more consistent with it.
You're going to have to set me up with that.
I have to set you up for sure, because it's important. And then I just unwind watching TV. I usually fall asleep watching TV or reading a book.
Love it. So let's talk about what's next for Kim. I think, we all get to that point in our career where it's like, as much as you love helping people, what do you see for yourself in the next couple of years? What do you want to do?
I see myself continually educating myself, because staying on top of all the leading trends in this industry is so important. Not only because I love to learn, but also because I want to deliver the best possible care and outcomes that I can for my patients. So I do see myself injecting, I would hope, for the next 10 years. And I would hope to continue to grow by leaps and bounds. But as I touched on a little while ago, I have just been hired and gone through the training modules for national trainer for Allergan Medical Institute. Allergan is the company that makes Botox and Juvederm, cool sculpting implants. They make so much. Skincare line, Diamond Glow. I think you carry a lot of their products too.
We have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff. So we just don't have the baller. We don't have you.
We're gonna hook you up.
So so amazing. So, it's funny. It's very similar parallels, right? So with us launching the coaching business, I'm so excited to be out there. And, it's neat because as much as I love my patients, I love going into practices, much like you're going to be working with practitioners, to show them how inspiring it is to offer different services and to constantly bringing in new services to get the results that they're looking for, especially when they're struggling with it. And whether it's something as, as I say, vain, but right, superficial as the skin to debilitating pain, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's be honest, they always say you're going to spend on two things, vanity and your kids, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like you're going to go out of business anytime soon.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Fun little fact. Not only do we look better aesthetically when we receive Botox treatments, but we also psychologically we feel better. There's studies have shown that when we freeze the muscles of anger and sadness, you're a chiropractor, John, the muscles on the brain are constantly interacting. So when the muscles of anger and sadness are frozen, people feel less anger and sadness. So I try to tell patients they're there almost clockwork, 4 months, maybe 4.5, but usually 3-4 months. And they just come because they need to feel better. I said, it's not because you need to look better, because obviously you will, and you'll get that aesthetic result. But psychologically, we feel better when we have Botox on board.
I like it. Listen, whatever spin you have to take with it, I'll get behind it. Tell me this, one of the things that I love to see, in the busy life that you have, how do you balance, how organized your calendar must be unbelievable. How do you stay organized to balance friends, social, your personal life, the kids? How do you do that? What's the secret?
I actually don't have a calendar, just on my phone. Sometimes I have reminders. I love life. Incidentally, I don't think you know this, but when I was 30, I had gallbladder surgery. And it turns out that when they were doing the gallbladder surgery laparoscopically, they found a liver tumor. So 6 weeks later, it was vascular looking. They had pictures of it, but they couldn't tell what it was, obviously. And they were too afraid when I was having my gallbladder surgery to biopsy it. So 6 weeks later, I met with doctors in New York. They decided I was 30. It was growing outside of the liver, from the liver out into my abdomen. And if I ever suffered trauma, I would have issues. So I had to have a third of my liver removed at the age of 30, which obviously is tragic, and thank God it wasn't cancer or anything malignant. And, you really wake up every day and you need to be thankful for your health, because it's not guaranteed and you can't buy it back if you lose it. So I feel very blessed every day that I get to wake up healthy, happy, and fulfilled.
I love that. And that's probably one of the big messages we always say with the Tough Love podcast is that being grateful, right? And you shared so many pearls today, and we have some time left. So, but I have to say, I had no idea, right? And I've known you for years now, but at 30 it was a wake up call. Now you didn't have any of the kids you have now, I
had Michael and Sam.
Yeah, and so, and what does that look like now? It's totally fine, nothing there, it's just gone.
It was.
I think it's all the positive energy.
You know what? Also, little fact, ladies. The only thing that can contribute it to was birth control. And I only taken birth control for 7 years of my life. But it is known to cause anomalies like that. And I was just one of the unfortunate ones.
Got it. So tell me this. What's your vision? I know we talk about this, we're out socially. Where do you see yourself? All the kids are out of high school. And, do you see yourself in Colts Neck, New Jersey forever? Or could you see yourself relocating to somewhere else?
I definitely don't see myself in Colts Neck. Colts Neck, I'm just there to raise my family. Mm-hmm. I would love to have a house on the water, not the ocean. I want the bay so I can have a boat and jet skis and have all of my gaggle of kids and grandkids there. Lord knows how many there's going to be by then.
Yeah, you do. Yes.
It's growing rapidly.
Yes. And with six kids and 6 grandkids?
Yep.
Yes, you're definitely going to have a fleet. You might need a couple boats.
I might need a couple houses.
So that's awesome. So one of the things that I want to close on for the single moms that are out there, what are some of the advice and, through your journeys to highs and lows would you give them? Or single parents in general, right? Let's not be genders, let's not be specific to a gender, because I think you're doing a pretty amazing damn job.
It is the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life, especially in today's environment and culture. It's just what our poor kids are exposed to. It's just such a different world. There's no easy or good answer that I can give you. Just stay strong, steadfast, and always use your honesty, integrity, your morals, your values, because if they don't see you utilizing all of your integral skills that we need to be good humans, then they're never going to know what to do and how to do it.
I like that answer. I have to say I'm blessed with the way my wife is with the kids. They have a great relationship with her. And I think it's so important to have that, that mother figure. I know in my house I grew up, it was definitely a lot more stoic and a lot more stern. Loving, but different. There was always the hammer that could drop, and with Jessica, she's like a ball of love,
She sure is.
And, so I'm blessed in that capacity, but hearing that, it's amazing. So there's a lot of compassion, a lot of patience, a lot of understanding, one of I think the fun tidbits, how much fun do you have making these TikToks and all these videos? Because they're very entertaining to me. So
Thank you.
Tell me about this.
Well, I do work with somebody, and she is really wonderful. And, I'm not a camera person. This is not my thing, but it's becoming my thing. And I'm really embracing it. And I feel like I do have a message to give. And a little humor mixed in with that message is an amazing thing. But I'm really embracing it. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I didn't think that I would feel that way.
And I'm honored because this is your first podcast, correct?
This is my first podcast. Thank you.
I thought that was amazing. And I had two today. We're the first and second podcast back to back today on Lifetime Fitness. So quite an honor to have you on here. One of the things I want to say to my audience is whenever you have the opportunity to have a guest that has kind of walked the walk and talked the talk, and in your industry, you're like, I may be exaggerating to a bit, but for people that know you, I would say like a Michael Jordan. I mean, you're really a beast and I brag about you all the time. But I also think people take for granted, I talk to my friends all the time and I always say, I'm like, dude, 2 kids is a job. 6 is like, wow, and you never look frazzled. And, it's an honor to call you a friend, and, hearing your story and all your accomplishments is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to let you take the floor for one last question. What would you say is your best trait or gift you have that even if you're having a bad day, and I'm sure they happen, how do you still show that smile? What's the secret?
Because I just let the bad things go. If I'm fighting with the kids, I move on to my next thing and I don't think about it anymore. Obviously, I deal with it, and I deal with it when I need to or have to, but you can't carry it. You can't carry the negativity. If you carry the negativity, it becomes you. And that's not who I choose to be. I choose to be positive.
Love the answer. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Kim Clemente, absolutely an amazing guest. Such an impressive story of just a ray of sunshine and just lightens up any room she goes in. Kim, thank you so much for joining us. I know people are going to value this story as much as I did sharing it with you.
Thank you so much, Sean. It was really a pleasure being here. And thank you for popping my cherry for podcasts.
You heard it here, guys. We'll see you again soon.
He did it.